Hi, warriors. We're still sitting here trying to figure out this narcissism, aren't we? So we're going to talk about malignant narcissism. So the more you're going through learning, the more you're healing, but you probably came across something called malignant narcissism. What exactly is it? So please like and subscribe. We're going to talk about the definition. So it is defined as, sorry, I got pop-ups going, a mix of narcissism, antisocial personality disorder, aggression, and sadism. So when we're talking about the malignant narcissism, it's not an actual diagnosis, but it is kind of like a layman's term that we're using. It's not in the latest edition of the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Health Disorders, the DSMV. So it's not a diagnostic term. Nobody will ever be diagnosed with malignant narcissism, but it is a characteristic, a mix, a comorbid type of mental illness. So you can have two or more of, again, I'll say it, narcissism, antisocial personality disorder, aggression, and sadism. So that was can be a little bit more damaging because now you had the aggression or the sadist. So it's something to be aware of. And also, it kind of undermines families, organizations, and is just very destructive. And it's just kind of like a subcategory. So there's a social psychologist, Eric Fromm, who first termed that phrase, statement, malignant narcissism, in 1964. So remember, it's not an exact diagnosis, but he said it was a severe mental sickness representing the quintessence of evil. So he says that it's the most severe pathology and the root of the most vicious destructiveness in humanity. And he saw it as regressive escape from frustrations by distortion and denial of reality. And he went on to say that it's a disturbing form of this narcissistic personality where grandiosity is built around aggression, and it also has a lot of destructive aspects to it, where they become, where they're trying to idealize themselves. So it is still like narcissistic personality disorder, where it revolves all around the narcissist. There's a lot of things to watch out for. So they lack conscience. They have a psychological need for power, sense of grandiosity, and they are pathological. So when somebody doesn't have a conscience, they do things that can destroy other people. Sometimes they get a joy out of the cruelty, also the sadism, they get a kick out of it. And it's really sad how people get a kick out of hurting other people. So the narcissist, they can become aggressive. They can lead to sadistic features. And the one thing, though, is that sometimes it's hard to understand because of the way they treat people. Sometimes it's really confusing if they lack remorse, but they know how to use trickery to, I don't know, function within a gang. They don't always have to be at the top of the top. They just had to be a part of something that is in control. So a lot of times we say that the narcissist has to be the best of the best. Sometimes it's just belonging to a power group, and it's not really successful in therapy. And that's one thing that you have to remember if you're dealing with a narcissist is, we always want them to get better. We always sit there and think that we can change them or help them, but it's usually very unsuccessful. So that's why a lot of times it's good to go no contact. But sometimes when we try to help people, we got to remember that sometimes we're bringing ourselves down. You have to evaluate your situation. We're in the middle of this, as they say, narcissistic pandemic, because people in their 60s, there's like 3 out of 100 people. And then people in their like 20s and 30s, there's like 10, and now we're starting to have like 30%, is what this one study just said. 30% of college age students. It's on the rise, and we're kind of encouraging it as a society. You know, everybody's entitled to a trophy, doesn't matter if you win or lose. We're coddling people from young ages on up. We're teaching them how to be narcissists, and also to the social norms are changing to where you know, girl power, but women are having more rights, and we're kind of liking that. We kind of want it, and so our roles are changing. And it's going to be interesting to see what's going on now with the pronoun change, the sexual identity that people are having. All these roles in society are changing. And in the past, there was always somebody in power. And in the past, it was usually considered the man and then the woman. You read all those Reader Digest things, which tell the woman, don't talk until you're spoken to. Make sure, you know, the kids are clean and quiet and kind of out of the hair. Teach them not speak when spoken to. Kind of like don't have a life until you talk to. And there was like all these rules on how to get along. You know, the woman was supposed to have dinner prepared, wasn't supposed to ask or tell about her day. She was supposed to only ask about the male, the husband. So in these relationships, we have lost how to get along with people because we've thrown off the balance. I'm not saying it was right in the past, but it worked in a sense. That's why family units stayed together. It was kind of what was expected. Now it's free reign. We're all like, what's going on? Who is somebody in control, or are we equals? You know, so we're trying to readjust stuff, but by readjusting it, we are overcompensating to where you know, when we're all 50-50, exactly 50-50, how do you have a tiebreaker? How do you have a tiebreaker? Who wins out then? And that's where it gets frustrating, because usually one has to bow down, so the other one, I guess, makes the decision. Because we can sit here and argue and argue and argue as long as we're 50-50. So we want to take turns. The narcissist doesn't like that, because let's say we let them go first. They kind of like, that was cool. And so they want to stay in that power position. And they learn tactics when they're kids on how to get their way. They had that entitlement. That's why as a teacher, it's, you know, it's almost like you can't reward a certain kid for doing anything. You know, let's say everybody got a C, and then one kid got an A, and you want to give them a little something. It's going to disrupt the whole class. They don't look at it as, oh, I need to do better. I would like to get that treat next time. I think I'm going to go for an A. They were trained that like, that's not fair. She got it. They don't process that he or she got the A and worked for it. It's that entitlement. So the narcissist is in this entitled stage where it's centered around them. They don't process the rest of the story or who else is involved in it. And I just wanted you guys to realize that malignant narcissism is out there. I'm going to do some more on sociopaths, because I just read on that, and I want to put it together a little bit more cohesively, because it can be kind of confusing, because there are a lot of narcissism traits within that. So it gets really confusing on what exactly is this diagnosis. So we might not know exactly what our narcissist is, but you can sense the mental illness. And there's a lot of similarities. They can flip-flop between overt and covert. They can have comorbid, whether it's codependency, antisocial, all these different things, psychopathy, so many mental illnesses. And all we know is that they're sick. They're sick. And sometimes too, there are some medications for certain mental illnesses, but with narcissism, that's the sad part, is there is no cure. There is no magic pill. If they have comorbid mental illnesses, you might be able to, if they have anxiety, you might be able to medicate that. They are aggressive, maybe it's because they're anxious, and that can go along with the medication. But narcissism is just self-centeredness. How do you give somebody a pill to tell them other people matter? You can get rid of the anxious feeling. You can get rid of when oh, I just lost a word for it. Schizophrenia, to where you can give them some lithium, things like that, to kind of change some of this brain chemistry that's going on, so it's not an overload. How do you give somebody a pill to cure a dead or shrunken part within their brain and make them not self-centered? And if you try to make them understand, since they don't have the empathy or the remorse, they can learn it, but who the heck cares? That's what they're going to think. Like, okay, so, but the world does revolve around me. Oh, it hurts other people. Well, I'm entitled to what I want. And if they do try, that entitlement is still there. And it's just too much effort. Their thought processes are rude, self-centered, self-absorbing, and they just crave to be adored. I know some of you guys are really hurting. Me, it's so weird. Like, I'm sitting here just today, it takes a while to readjust your body, and I'm uncomfortable in my body. And what was going through my head today is, they talk about this narcissist always in pain. A lot of times it's from the childhood trauma. And I have never felt the pain that I have felt. I was put in this high anxiety state for months, where the last words I heard is, "Of course I'll do right by you. Like, we're planning a future." Then I don't hear from him, and I'm trapped out of town to where there's not enough time, and he's not answering the phone, and I'm just freaking out. So I thought he was dead or something. So high anxiety for such a long period of time, multiple times of doing this ghosting and crap that they do, that it's like CPTSD, where you're messed up. You get the brain fog, and you just feel funky, but I get this like uncomfortable feeling. And I start thinking, like, is this what they're talking about? Like, does a narcissist feel that? And I'm going to research that a little bit more. Because I physically feel like crap, even when I'm doing certain things. Like, I'm teaching, and I'm talking to these adorable little kids. I teach online. It's chill. I just it's not real stressful what I do. And teaching in the schools is stressful, but I got nobody really looking over my back. It's my own business, wonderwarriors.com. But anyways, with a hyphen. But I get uncomfortable. Like, it's not really a panic attack, but maybe it is. And then you start thinking, like, is this what they go through? Do they have that uncomfortable feeling to where you can't settle down? I can be doing something beautiful. I can, I went for a walk with my dog. Beautiful day today. Stop, say hi to the neighbor kids. They pet the dog, and what is going on with me? Why do I feel like this? I'm still in the healing process, just like you guys. The more you learn, the better it'll get. So I can totally relate to you guys, but I'm trying to understand the narcissist to bring it forward to you guys. What exactly do they feel? Because they say that they're miserable all the time. Are they just cranky? You start thinking, back in the day, is it like PMS symptoms? Like, are they just kind of cranky, irritable? Or is it like what I'm feeling, where it's a pain? So if you guys can comment below, do you feel this pain that I'm talking about? Do you think the narcissist, not that we're looking for excuses, but is that your interpretation of it? because in the past for me, I kind of thought it was like an irritability, especially your vulnerable narcissists. The grandiose ones, it's kind of like, do they really feel pain, or are they just kind of spoiled brats? So I'd like to delve into that a little bit more. But be careful on them. It's good to understand them so we can avoid future problems and future relationships. Set your boundaries. I just did a video on that, on how the words empathetic people use are sometimes passive, and it's seen as a weakness. And those narcissists know how to take advantage of it. You have to be very stern with them, set your boundaries, and stick to them. That's the only way the narcissist will learn, is through consequences. Some might bail on you, but if they stick by you, you have to have them earn your respect, earn the relationship. And they can only do it for so long, is the sad thing. So I can relate to you guys. Please like and subscribe, and one-on-ones are available, and I will see you in the next video.